Hey guys, Jeff at Hubie's Garage, and yeah, we're just back out in the garage. We're working on the 55 Bel Air two-door sedan, continuing on with the Resurrection. This was an intro. This is actually an intro to some of the interior work that I did. There's some interior upgrades and cleaning, and a couple tips that I did with putting some of the stuff back together and getting things cleaned up and presentable again, because it's been some time since car's been out, seen daylight, and been driven and whatnot. So we'll get this looking good again. And we did not get to doing the front bench seat, but that will be done here shortly. You'll see that in an upcoming video. Got a couple more, one or two videos, and then we will have the big info on what's been going on with the garage. Not quite there yet. Just have a few more loose ends to tie up, but thank you for your patience with this. I should have a video out each and every Saturday from this point forward, and we'll get to that announcement real soon. So thanks for your patience, guys. I appreciate it. Here is the interior updates, upgrades, cleanups, whatever you want to call it, on the 55 Bel Air two-door sedan Resurrection. So one of the projects I'm working on is, it's just a Saturday, and I never put the dash back together from the actual video that I did on the early production 55s. You could see the holes in the dash, some of the stuff with the clock as far as, the date that's on it. Anyway, I just decided it was time to put the dash back together, and it had been a long time since this thing had been apart. Everything in here was completely re-chromed. Now it's got a rough texture to it, and it's time to clean it up. So I put a little bit of wax on the dash, got that all cleaned up, got some of the chrome pieces that I've cleaned up. I went ahead and used a little bit of Blue Magic on the dash trim, used a Brillo pad. You got to be careful with the clock because you don't want to get water in it, but use that. Used some chrome polish on the gear selector cover for the B&M shifter, and I'm just going to keep going, just get it looking good again, put it all back together. There's lots of different things you can use, but this is a real simple project for me that worked out really good, and it's got great results because that gypsy red against the chrome really comes out nice. I almost thought about bringing the buffer in here and buffing the dash because it'd been, well, gosh, this thing was painted back in '84. So, but it came out nice with the wax, with the turtle wax. So I got the sun visors off, and those are out at his shop now. And if everything goes well, then I will take the door panel off, because this is a big gooey mess. You can remember all the years of going out in this car, street racing, and just having a good time with friends and whatnot. And it seemed like every jacket or sleeve or whatever that I came home with has the black all over it because of this door panel. So I'll have him repair that, and then also repair the seat. That's if the sun visors go well. And yeah, it'll be nice to get all this stuff fixed finally after all these years, and get this thing back on the road. So as far as doing the dash trim, it's pretty delicate. It's pretty easy to bend. So this is something that I wouldn't use my buffing wheel on. So I've done that in the past, and basically it just wipes all the paint off. It used to be an old way where you could tape off the edges and then spray paint the whole piece of trim with gloss black paint, and then take some paint thinner or some lacquer thinner and a rag and wipe it off. And supposedly they said that the black paint would stay in the depressed bow ties, but it never really worked. So I'm just trying to basically take care of and keep my original stuff that I have in the car clean, and the Blue Magic works great for that. In fact, I've even rubbed it over the bow ties, just being careful not to rub too hard, but it doesn't really have an abrasive grit to it, and it doesn't really seem to take the paint off, but it does give it that shine. As far as the dash, this is just typical AutoZone O'Reilly stuff, the turtle wax, the hard shell. you know, for some of the stronger chrome that maybe has a few pits or some pits that are starting, the chrome polish isn't horrible. For some of the stronger stuff, you could use the steel wool, the SOS pads, the Brillo pads, and then of course the metal, the concrete and metal prep with a brush that you will see here. So yeah, you can see what just using a nice soft rag and a little bit of the Blue Magic does. This is working on the outer edge as well as working on the bow ties, and it looks a lot better, especially if you look at the rails or the edges. So, you know, it's just little things, and this car is long overdue for needing this kind of detail work, so I'm kind of glad that I had the dash still apart. I guess there was a reason why I didn't put it back together, because I just needed to spend this time cleaning it up and making it look good. Wax on, wax off. So here's a little before and after. You can see it's kind of cloudy, and you know, it's not always best to use the GoPro, but there's some, because the GoPro doesn't zoom in real well, but there's some rust around the radio knobs, and you know, it's just a little bit cloudy. It's kind of lost the shine. You can see the difference here, but we're going to go ahead and clean this up and use the Blue Magic. I got it done, went through and just went and did a little bit of light Blue Magic on it, and it made quite a difference. So, you know, it's you got to be careful, because you can rub the paint off of the bow ties. But you know, last time I did this was probably 1985. It's been a long time. This car's been sitting for a long time. So, you know, it just takes a little bit of effort, and all this stuff comes back and looks just as good as it did when we did the frame-on restoration back in the mid-80s. So one of the things you can do is, on the stainless anyway, the buffing kits work great. The Eastwood company has some great kits, and like I say, one of the things that I wanted to do is I had all these chrome screws, and I wanted to clean them up. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out probably my White Rouge wheel and put it on the bench grinder and see what they'll look like. Okay, I went ahead and spun the nut off. So we'll go ahead and take the washers off, take the wire wheel off, set that aside. We'll go ahead and spin this on, and I got you guys facing the other wheel. Okay, so we got that on. We'll just go ahead and spin this thing and let it clean. And usually just run a clean edge. Just run a clean edge over it just to clean it up. I don't even think I'm going to even put any compound on it, but these are some of the chrome screws that came from the bezel, and these should clean up pretty nice. We'll do a little bit of the edge too. Yeah, you could see the shine on that. That really, like, it just went to the chrome shop. So, you know, that one doesn't look like a factory beveled edge because it's flat, and these are actual rounded head beveled screws. So I'm gonna have to find another screw that matches that one. This one's pretty pitted, so we'll see what happens with this one. Yeah, it's trying. Sometimes these get a little hot. See if we can get it around the edge here. And it's fun doing this with one hand, holding the camera with the other. Yeah, it came out pretty nice. So I brought that back too. Snapped that back. So there's 3 of the chrome, or 2 of them. I'm gonna have to go find another one out of my bin of Tri-5 hardware. Probably have something in there. And then, but let's go ahead and we'll finish the shifter tower screws. Not real sure if these are chrome, but we're gonna fake it like they are. Yeah, those came out like jewelry there too. Came out really nice. So just little detail things that you can do. Just you know, when people are poking their head in your car, or looking in your car, looking at the dash, you know, these are just little detail items that'll help the car look good. And this car's been sitting for so long. You know, this car, I used to show this car a lot, and we didn't do real well with it because I was just a 16-year-old kid that did a frame-on restoration, you know, going up against these $100,000 Trailer Queen cars that these old guys had, you know, spent their retirement funds restoring. And now I'm that guy. So, you know, it's nice to kind of clean the car up again, but you know, I don't know if I'm gonna do a frame off on it. We'll see. All right, you get the point with the buffing. Anyway, these kits from Eastwood Company here, they're pretty nice. You know, like I say, you can buy a 3-wheel kit that comes with 3 compounds and 3 wheels. This one is, I don't think I've so rarely used emery. I mean, you're really having to cut into stainless to use something like that. I mean, it's almost got like cardboard and you know, almost like a wire in the wheel itself. And, you know, it's like I say, it's good to mark the wheel so you don't contaminate them. You know, I've got this one here, and this one, I kind of violated my own rule of not marking it because it wasn't marked, but I did find a part number on it. It was a 3017, and this one ended up being a 30172, so I knew that was stainless. Go through a little bit of stainless. I'd go through quite a bit of the White Rouge, and like I say, the White Rouge, just throwing that wheel on there, you could see what it did. Just a couple seconds with each of these screw heads, a little detail item that just really makes it look a lot better. Okay, so I went ahead and got the shifter screws, the self-tappers. Those are all done, and those came out really nice. You could see, I mean, it's, you know, just a little couple seconds on the White Rouge wheel, it does real wonders. And I managed to find a second screw that matches instead of this wood screw that apparently, I don't know how that found its way in there. But okay, we're going to clean up the sun visor hinges on the 55 Chevy. This is what they look like before, and let's go ahead and use the phosphoric acid, see what it looks like. Okay, so start brushing the acid on with just using a little acid brush here. You can see it's already starting to come off. Use it on this part here. A lot of stuff, a lot better to use this than to use steel wool, which will end up scratching the chrome. This basically doesn't do any damage to the chrome. The chrome's a minimal thickness, and you don't want to hurt that with steel wool or any other stuff that might scratch. But this is coming out pretty nice, and we'll see what it looks like finished product. Give it a little wipe down with the rag, get everything cleaned off, polish up the chrome, and you can see just minimal effort. That's what it looks like. Not too bad for a couple of minutes work with this phosphoric acid. Works great. So here's the before and after of the phosphoric acid. This didn't take very much time at all, but boy, a big difference. Just really brought the chrome back. Okay, got the sun visors back in. They went in really nice. Went ahead and tightened up, can't really see it on here, but on the back side there's a screw, and I went ahead and tightened that up to help it so it won't drop down when you're driving. Still have the window frame upright over there by the driver's side that it's never really fit right since we put the new windshield in. I believe the weather strip just has a bulge in it, and Obviously you could see the bottom of the bench seat, that's going to get redone. But the same company that I took the sun visors to, who did a really nice job, was kind of a test to see how well they do. I went ahead and took my door panel to them because it had like mastic on it and it just needed to be redone. It was torn. And when the door panel's done, should be done Tuesday, then I'll go in and take the bench seat and have them recover. They may end up just doing the whole entire bench seat. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they can get something to match the bottom. The material here is real close. So anyway, did a nice job. And then once that's all done, we'll get in here and detail everything out. This gypsy red dash really pops when it's cleaned up and waxed up. And also after putting the sun visors in, I noticed that the rear view mirror mount, it had that green pasty look, how it gets when they start to rust and start to pit. I went ahead and took that off so I could do the old phosphoric acid treatment, and I'll show you how that came out. The rear view mirror mount is done. I wished I had taken a picture of the before, but you can see the screw heads. They have kind of that green pasty tint to them. That's basically what the arm looked like. Just starting to kind of do that rust bit to it. It was all green, and like I say, just brushing on the phosphoric acid. You know, it really did an amazing job, and really woke up the chrome on this. So I'll be ready to put the rear view mirror back on. So I worked on the window crank and the lighter bezel, and just put it on the buffing wheel, and it came out pretty nice. Did one handle, used a little bit of Brillo pad on it, and just got the high stuff down. You can see where it's starting to pit and gets that cloudy crud stuff on it. It got rid of most of the pits, and then I went ahead and just buffed it. You know, just compared to the other ones, it looks pretty good. So I'll do these two, and we'll be ready to put those back on. All right, so I got the door panel, or I should say the armrest, recovered. So we'll get that all taken care of. No more tear on the top by the cup. And a little dirty. It's been sitting on top of the roof of the Del Rey, but you could see the original upholstery on the door card. Well, there's some old tropical turquoise. When I bought the car, it was turquoise and white. And then there, from the original Harvest Gold color, it had a Neptune green interior. So I'm sure if you were to tear this Naugahyde, this black Naugahyde off, you'd probably see the original Bel Air Neptune green interior that's underneath it. Okay, so I got the door card back on. Everything came out real nice. Ended up painting the finger cup, polished out the screws, and got the interior screws back on. Just basically just kind of strategically located, because this car doesn't have any clips or nails in it, and that was what they had used for just the interior screws. But I was getting ready to put the last window crank on, and I thought I'd just go over this real quick. You've got the window crank, you've got the spring, you've got the washer, and then you got the clip that actually holds the window crank or door handle on. I'm going to go over how to put this on. I also have a tool that we use to get the clip off the door handle or the window crank. I typically like to install these clips here with the clip facing outward, because it's kind of hard to work the tool in from the other direction. So we'll do clip out away from the handle, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so before you put the door cards on, you want to put the springs on behind the door card. So they're going to go small end to the outward portion of the car. The big end's going to face towards the interior, and then that'll go behind the door panel. You can see the screw or the springs are in there right now, and then they're already behind the door handle and the wind wing crank now. So what I did is I went ahead and put the clip on again with the tongs out so that you could get the tool in there to work it. Then we'll go ahead and put the I probably should have got some better ones, but go ahead and put the washer on, and it basically covers that clip, and as well as it kind of is like a guide or a washer protector to protect the door card or the upholstery on the door card. And when you go ahead and push this thing on, the clip will spread out, and then it'll clip back on into the back side of the teeth of that, and then it'll grab it. All right, so the window crank is on. You just, like I say, basically you just push it on, and then you'll hear it click, and you know that it's on because it'll bottom out. So, okay, well, I got the passenger side all put back together. All the trim came out really nice. The screws came out really nice. It's kind of hard to see, but went ahead and put the center shifter panel on the shifter, back on that. Put the switch panel back in place. Got the lighter cleaned up. Gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of it later on. Do the 3 gauge cluster, the gauge cluster itself, the factory gauge cluster, and then I'll go ahead and finish up with the heater control. And I don't know if you guys have looked at these very often, but this is another sign of an early 55, early production 55. I don't know if you can see on the top arm there, it says 10 of 54. So this was an early production heater control, and we have 3 screws on the panel. The later models have 2. So we'll go ahead and get this, we'll take the panel off and we'll clean it up, and because I know this was plated at one time, or replated I should say, so it should clean up pretty nice. We'll put that back in, do the gauge cluster, I should say the Stewart Warner gauge cluster, and then the factory gauge cluster, and everything will be looking as good as what we have over here. I wished I had a little sunlight to shine on it. Really looks good. That chrome up against the gypsy red is really a neat color. So anyway, that's all I got, and we're going to keep chipping away at this thing, and hopefully we'll get back on the big brick wall, which is the brakes. So once we get the brakes all done, then I could start buttoning up under the hood, and we can go out and start driving this thing. So been a long road. All right, guys, have a good one. Like, comment, or subscribe, and have a great weekend.